Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Hawashai, Ba'ashim, Kakodash, double honors to the elders, the apostles, a great millstone, blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect. Man, real quick, it's this article that I came across my timeline. I wanted to play the podcast of it, but for whatever reason, it kept turning off my screen recorder. So it says here, rent is going up so fast. It's not just pricing now residents, it's hurting Kansas City because, you know, what I've experienced here, as well as the podcast mentioned, that the reason why people came here to Kansas City is because the rents were relatively cheap. Okay, the rents were relatively cheap and reasonable. But now every year they are doing what they call price gouging, going up on the rent due to the market because they're trying to keep up with market values. You know, like they have what they call market rent when they may so-called give you a discount, but your landlord, they would basically say, well, look, you're under market value, which market value could be 300 to 400 times or 300 to 400 more dollars a month. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, they're complaining because their rents are going up every year. Like my rent has been going up every year since I moved down here, but not by, you know, too much of an amount. But this last increase was like $115 increase. You know what I'm saying? Which was a big difference from what I'm used to paying. All right. For the place I live at. You know, which the place I live at, I mean, it's not bad at all. It's pretty nice. The apartments are decent, but, you know, they're pretty old and they require some work to it. And, you know, they can sell them at that price, but for the average rents in Kansas City, people were paying around 400 and 500 bucks, man, 600 bucks. You know, like I knew a couple of people that was paying 725 bucks for 1,100 square foot apartment. You know what I'm saying? And the apartments were nice, big, spacious. But see, what's happening, man, is due to inflation and them trying to move out Jake. They're paying, you know, people are paying higher than normal rents. Okay, and that's what this podcast was really going into. Lady was stating that having an apartment here was pretty much, you know, the shit because it was pretty cheap. Okay, so this is basically her words. It says, when I first started renting an apartment in Kansas City in 1999, it says, no one in my friend group, it says mostly artists working service industry jobs, it says paid more than $425 a month, and it says we almost lived alone, meaning that most people was able to afford to live by themselves because rent was so cheap. You know, but due to Esau being an oppressive demon, you know, people are being, you know, they're being starved out because now homelessness is at an all-time high from California throughout the Midwest to these big cities. Even here in KC, shit, you got homelessness that's on the rise, man, because people can't afford to pay the rents anymore and the jobs aren't paying enough. See? But anyway, it says not too long ago, it says cheap rent like this was Kansas City's main attraction, which is true, okay, because this is such an overlooked city that, you know, they was able to afford rents that cheap. Like when you go to the downtown metro area of Kansas City, you had lofts down there that ran from 600 bucks. And this was probably roughly 10 years ago. Now average loft downtown is going to run you 1,400 bucks, man. Same of that in the big city. So they're trying to get on par with these other cities because they're trying to raise up the residual values. You see what I'm saying? What the hell? And anyway, it says Seattle had good coffee and music. California had good weather and beaches, but New York had mostly exciting jobs and tons of cool stuff to do. It says, but if you could find the time and money to actually enjoy it. It says this city, meanwhile, has affordable apartments, and they were. It says, but what people may now pay to share spaces with roommates, she said, it hurts my brain, and not because I don't understand the kind of market that forces to push up rents. It says, but why doesn't quite compute is when exactly this happened. She said she remembered when rent was being affordable, then suddenly it wasn't. But she said, but I can't quite pinpoint the shift right because it was a hit and miss. Because even in Kansas City Metro, you have a surrounding city by the name of Overland Park, which is on the other side, which is in the state of Kansas, which that's one of the 5 top lucrative cities in America, man, as far as pay, wealth, startup of businesses, homes, income, etc. Okay, and the cost of living out there is pretty high, but if you land you a job in Overland Park and you live quite comfortably, you can easily afford an apartment out there. easily afford a nice townhouse out there. If you were making over 3-4 grand a month, you can easily find an affordable apartment out there, because the key is to make double the rent. You know, like a lot of times when you sign these leases, they'll say, well, if you make twice the amount the rent, then no, you're able to rent here. But now they're going off credit prices, etc., which a lot of people don't have good credit, so they hurt their chances of living in reputable areas, which Esau done that on purpose, because they wanted to push out Jake. Why? Because they wanted to gentrify everything. You know, and when you gentrify something, that means that you're taking it from an old or the old way and turning it to something new for the millennials or people that can afford it. Like in all these big cities, they're gentrifying, like Harlem, Spanish Harlem, East Harlem. That's all gentrified now, you know. Spanish Harlem used to be Jakes and Ephraimites. Now it ain't shit but crackers up there, man. Same thing in the Inglewood area in Chicago, where the Robert Taylors and Cabrini Green was torn down. Now they moved Esau up in there in those condominiums, man. And you can see about that in the last Candyman movie. They gentrified the Cabrini Green area to push Jake out, because they wanted to get that city back, or they wanted to get close to the Gold Coast, man. You know, because everything was accessible by bus or train. Now, shit, you can walk to wherever you want. But anyway, it says here, she says she worried too how the average renter here in a town makes up the difference and how life in Kansas City changes if they can't. But it says the other week, I got on Twitter and invited folks to play a game with me. It says, tweet me what you paid for your first rental in the metro. Right, and the metro is down, you know, the metropolis area. Like a lot of, they call it midtown, then you got downtown, then you got, you know, the lofts and so forth. Pretty nice. And they're building up these new developments, and they're selling them off for hundreds of thousands of dollars now. Can't nobody afford it. Unless, you know, you a trust fund, baby, and your parents got that bread. But other than that, if you're a Jake and you work a regular job like me and majority of the people, you can't afford to live downtown Kansas City, man. And the crazy part about it is, it don't even have a real lakefront. It don't have a body of water here. It's just inland industrial shit surrounded by the forest. You know, they have something which is called a riverfront. That's not really a lakefront, because for one thing, the riverfront is with factories and shit. It's polluted. You know, it's not really marketable enough for them to charge outstanding rents, but they can do that. You know, because hey, they're selling these houses at $300,000 or $400,000 a pop and getting rich off of it, man. You know, it said, but let's try another way. It says, tweet me what you pay for your first apartment in the metro, and it says in a number of rooms and the bathrooms, and it says, what the fuck, man? What the fuck was that? Hold on, man. Let me get from behind this truck. This motherfucker got right in front of me and then shot some shit in my window. I feel like my window was finna crack. Give me 1 second, man. Let me get the fuck. Man, this place is full of confusion, man. And this motherfucker gonna come right in front of me. You got all that open lane, but you wanna hop your dumb ass in front of me. Salakia, man. This shit just spin me for a loop. Look like it's some bird shit or something on my hood, but it's like something just popped. I don't know if brothers heard that, but either a rock hit it or what, but I don't see any breaks, not that I know of. You know, but hey, you know, we under them curses, so hey, that may be a different story tomorrow. But nonetheless, man, let's proceed on. Look like a bird poop doing it. But anyway, she was going into the first apartment she brought, and I remember the first apartment I bought down here, man, and I can say I wasn't really disappointed. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't disappointed by far. You know, it was a decent sized apartment. The bedroom was huge, the living room was huge, and the rents was relatively reasonable. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even complain about it. Every apartment I had down here was pretty reasonable. You know, but now they're going up by hundreds of dollars on rent. Like my shit went up by like $125 easily. And they're doing that because they want to get Jake from out of the area. But what I found out too, and show you how much of a damn devil Esau is, it's a lot of people out there where I'm at, mainly Edomites, that's not even paying rent. You know, some people still paying a little bit of none for their rents, because the apartments that I live in, they're built like lofts and stuff. They look like old cabins. They're built like lofts. And a lot of Edomites out there, they're not going up on their rent, but Jake, they're going up on Jake's rent because they don't want us out there, man. You know, in many ways, you can't blame them for wanting Jake out of the area, but then you got Jakes that's trying to do the right thing, and you know they can't seem to rub two nickels together, which is highly oppressive, man. Okay. So anyway, I want to keep reading it, but I'm on this highway. But anyway, we're going to follow spirit. So it says almost 100 people shared their stories, and not surprisingly, they revealed up a pretty clear pattern. It says rent has gone way up in the city's market, Columbus Park, and the crossroads, but it's climbed up even more dramatically across the various Midtown neighborhoods. And Midtown is like a lot of kids, you know, like a lot of kids from UMKC, you know, KU, you know, in that plaza area where we prophesied at. That's a very nice spot. A lot of rents definitely went up there because a lot of kids were moving down there. But it says 2 bedrooms in Westport went for $850 in 2013. More like $950 correcting the inflation, but you'd be hard pressed to find a similar apartment now for under $1,300, and that's the point I was making. Down in Westport, you paying $1,300 easily. It says a two bedroom house in East Brookside rented for $350 in the late 1900s, more like $600 today. But renting a similar home now would cost more than $1,500 a month. It says a 1 bedroom in Volker, right off West 39th Street, went for $500 in 2011, but just a decade ago. But even when the inflation, they're just $620 today. And the available unit in the exact same building is currently listed for $950, man. So basically, you can see where it's going, you know, and that's oppressive, man, because hey, eventually they're gonna force people out of their homes, and they're going to force people into homelessness. Okay. So already knowing this is the book of Ecclesiastes 4:1, it says, so I return and consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comfort. It says, and on the side of the oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter, man. That's right, man, because you got Jake that sell out to these establishments, and they don't have Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and the oppressed is talking about Israelites. Okay, and a lot of Jakes are going through this current situation. Me myself is going through it, but the Lord has blessed me to be sustained, you know, in the times that we're living in for the little while we got left, you know, and that could change any day. But overall, through the spirit, hey man, people are losing their homes left and right. That's why you see a lot of for rent or a lot of for sale signs on the markets, because people, they're losing their homes. You see what I'm saying? So going here to the book of Sirach, the 4th chapter, it says here, my son, defraud not the poor of his living, and make not the needy eyes to wait long. Like you go out to these big, nice neighborhoods where Esau lives at, they easily selling houses for $400,000, man. And these the new shits that they're put up that's not even worth that. You know, you be better off paying that price for those old, precious brownstone homes. You know, those old homes with the real brick and stone and solid foundation. You know, that's what you want to do, because those homes are very durable. The ones they're building up now, they couldn't survive a fucking hurricane or a goddamn thunderstorm, and people paying $500,000 for these cheap ass houses they're putting up in a month. You know, but they can market it at that price because hey, that's the value now. You know, and these elites are getting rich. These lower levels are getting rich off that. That's the game. And it says here, make not a hungry soul sorrowful, neither provoke a man in his distress, and add not more trouble to a heart that is already vexed, and defer not to give him that which is in need. Right. So through the spirit, man, Esau is holding away the good from Jake, even his own people, because this is an Edomite that's speaking in his podcast. Because as I was listening to it, you know, she sounded like an Edomite, you know, and you know it's a problem when Esau starts to complain about the BS and the oppression, which I don't feel bad for him, because hey, when it was affordable, you did the same shit to Jake, you know. But now that you're catching hell, all of a sudden everybody got to come and listen to your fucking complaint. Excuse my French, you know. And that's the double standard of these devils. There's always a double standard with them, you know. They can't have done to them, but you can have done to you, which is, it's just that just unrighteous completely, you know. So can you park this joint? And it says here, reject not the supplication of the afflicted, neither turn away thy face from the poor man. All right. So going down, reading on a little bit more, and I'm going to end it. You know, I just wanted to kind of speak on it through the spirit. So it says across the Midtown, rental rates appear to have doubled in just the last decade. And it says in about every unit I saw cost more than $800. So where could you go? She says she wanted for $800 a month. So regardless, that's throughout all the city. Because like I said, man, they're trying to push Jake out. Okay, they're trying to push Jake out. And anybody that brings down the property values, they want your ass out of there, man. Because, hey, they can't make no money once the property value is that low. You see what I'm saying? Which is totally oppressive. And they know that the rents are not affordable. Especially when you only have a job that's paying you $17, $18 an hour. That's not nearly enough money to survive off of. And Esau knows this shit, but he pushes us anyway. Why? Because he's the devil that the Bible talks about. So it reads, she said, I expanded my search, scored metro listing, and realized that a place that in budget is nearly impossible to find in Kansas City. It says we're not just talking about a minimal square footage or a specific neighborhood. We're talking about rentals of any size in any neighborhoods, you know, which is true because you go to the hood now, it's expensive to live out there, you know. But yeah, brothers, man, hey, we at the end of this thing, you know, hey, everybody is scrambling from chips. This fucking pandemic and whatever else they got going on has caused a lot of hurt in the wallet. A lot of people are going homeless. They're going broke. You know, they're tapping into their pensions and they have no way of, you know, getting their livelihoods back, which is all Bible prophecy. Okay, the scriptures go clearly into there being no work or anything in Egypt that the head or tail or branch or rush may do. All right, so this is my last precept. This is the book of Isaiah 19, and I'm going to start at 14. It says, the Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and have caused Egypt to earn every work thereof as a drunken man staggered in his vomit. Okay, that means in every work. The perverseness from the laws to the behaviors of the people, you know what I mean? And, you know, so forth. And it says here, and it says, neither should there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail or branch or rush may do. And it says, and in that day, Egypt should be like unto women, and it should be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the hand of Judah, Salakia, and the land of Judah should be a terror unto Egypt, and everyone that make mention thereof should be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he determined against it. So this place is getting ready to be shut down, man. And with that, all praises and glory, honor that is due to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Shalom, and Abba.